Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life. Hey everybody, Brian Smith here with the Iron Team series and the Daily Influence. Today we're going to talk about communication organization. And, it's very hard in our world to manage all of the different types of communication we have. Remembering conversations, emails, text messages, voice messages, everything that occur all day, every day has become a constant battle for those of us in any area of influence. It doesn't matter what you do. You could be a housewife, you could be a student, you could be a CEO. Organizing and managing your different areas of communication has become one of the most difficult and critical things that we deal with. And it's something that I speak to and work with our clients with on a regular basis. I work on it myself. And understanding communication organization starts, with communication. And it helps when communication that we have with people is smart. Conversations need to be specific. They need to have context. And if they don't have context, they're hard to organize. It's hard for people to follow along. When somebody comes into a conversation and hears a snippet of that conversation, they're already disorganized. They don't really know what it is. I know you've been in a situation where that happens and somebody just starts interjecting and they're wrong or they're off topic. It's because they didn't have context. One of the things you can do if you are entering a conversation, listen carefully and make sure that you ask questions first before you start interjecting. Make sure that you get caught up on the context. Ask questions that are directed at it. If there's measurements involved, make sure that you ask about them. That will help ensure that organized communication and smart communication happens. It also makes you timely. So when we're managing our communication, it starts with the actual conversation. So be smart about your conversation. How we follow up, how we file, how we store, memorize the topics of our conversations is even more important. One of the rules in our organization is that you don't come in my office and just start talking to me. And if you do, and there are decisions made, agreements made, tasks determined that have to be done, any kind of follow-up, it must be put in writing. That doesn't include if you see me writing it down, it means that you need to follow up. And it's something that we are pushing to teach all of our advisors in every conversation that we have. When you have a conversation with somebody, follow up with that conversation with an email, with some kind of written format that identifies the context of the conversation you had and the agreements that were made, decisions that were made, tasks that are due, and when they're due. When you're organizing communication, if there's deadlines, make sure they're agreed to. If you are setting deadlines, make sure that there is a clear, smart path to reach that deadline. Ask people if the deadline's attainable. Ask if this is a timely moment for them to work on whatever it is that has been agreed to. This is all part of smart communication and organizing your communication. Within your email system, don't just let it build up. Create folders that mean something to you so that if you have to recall an email, if you have to recall a conversation, you can get to it. Many of us can go into our email system and see, wow, tens, hundreds, even thousands of emails that have happened, and they're just in there. And it doesn't take long for those emails to stack up and to become what I would call overwhelming. Yes, you can search for them. You can search by the person they're from. But every time we have to do that, it takes more time. It's a distraction, which we've talked about in the past. An organization of your communication can help manage the distraction of that communication, the distraction of recall, and the inefficiency of recall. It can help you to remember, to research, to set better timelines, to set reminders. Use the tools in your communication organization like Outlook, Google Mail, your iPhone mail, whatever mail system you use has tools to help you organize that communication. Within your texting, you can put groups together. You can save text messages. You can forward them to yourself to archive them in an email. You can take a photo of it and send that to yourself. There are so many tips and tricks to managing your communication and archiving them and putting them in a place that's meaningful to you so that you can have organized communication. And that's really what it's about, is it's about you having the clearest understanding you can have about your communication with people so that you're giving your best self. And that the influence that you have in whatever area of influence you find yourself is as responsible as it can be. So that contextually within conversations, you have a good memory or you have a path to a good memory. You don't have to rely on what is just of mind. You can use the tools to remind yourself, remember the context, remember the details, remember the people, remember the time, remember the promises. And use that to establish your next communication and your next. And that is building on smart communication. And it takes some discipline. As you hear us say here, you've got to slow down, become intentional about your conversations. And when you're done with an email, put it back. It's like turning the lights off in your house, throwing the trash away, or dare I say, flushing the toilet. When you're done with an email, put it back in the folder it belongs. When you get a new email, file it away properly. When you get a text and it's important, it belongs to a client or to a person's conversation, send it to yourself and file it away. Make sure that you are creating a foundation of communication organization that you individually can rely on, that will support you and make you the best person you can be. Remember again, our third book, Responsible Influence, Build the Iron Team, is coming out in about 2 months. Look for a lot of updates on that. We hope that you will buy a copy. If you haven't had a copy of our first 2 books, go out to Amazon and find Individual Influence, Find the Iron Team, and Positive Influence, Be the Iron Team. And get caught up on our work about how important you are, how your influence is your biggest responsibility, and how positive influence is your best path to prosperity and happiness. We look forward to talking to you again soon.